Hello there, welcome to the channel, or welcome back, whichever way you pick. Anyways, today we'll be looking at the Celestial Toystore Ultimate Edition 10th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver. This is a replica I've been looking for quite a long time, and looked for even up until a few months ago. But that was when Nathan, a friend of mine, generously gave me this. On YouTube, he's known as Dalek Idea, and he reviewed this particular Sonic. And I'll leave a link to that down below. Funny story, that was the first video I ever saw of this replica. And now, today, it is right in front of me in my possession. Now let's not waste any more time and dive into the review. But first, let's look at the history. You can skip if you wish. So 8 or so years ago, or 9, give or take, CT had made different variants of the 10th Doctor Sonic. Unfortunately, all of these, while beautiful, were not accurate. It was either just wrong dimensions or just wrong paint, or just different materials. But then one day, CT decided, I'm going to do it all over again. This time closer and better than before. And so he went on to do such a thing. He did. And let's just say he was more than successful. And to this day, it is still considered one of his best masterpieces, or just masterpieces in general. That's why it's called the Ultimate Edition. Now, let's see this Ultimate Edition in person. So starting with the box, it's simplistic and modest, none of which can describe CT himself, unfortunately. But it's made out of plastic, black, and it's texturized. It's very reminiscent of what the prop would have been carried in. But looking inside, the Sonic is secured in very strong black foam cut to its shape. Now, let's look at the Sonic itself. My goodness, is it beautiful. I mean, no matter which way you look at it, no matter the minor inaccuracies there are on this thing, it's always going to be beautiful, and it's always going to be close. It's made out of screen-accurate materials, as mentioned before, and it almost feels like you're holding the prop itself. Let's start at the top. So here you can see the bulbous blue emitter cut to the shape. It's in the shape that the Sonic has been notorious for. Moving down to the head, or the struts, you can see the machining. As you can see here, there's a bit of uneven machining, but that's just a minor thing. And in fact, to me, it adds to the uniqueness and the beauty. Moving to the piece where the head meets the body, you can see that the teeth fit flushly together, and the tolerances are just beautiful. And moving on to the glass chamber, be it made out of plastic or resin, you can see how beautiful that is, especially with the little cracked core right there, hiding the spiraled yellow wires. And you don't need to worry about the effect here. It's actually part... Okay, so let me rephrase myself. It's notorious. This replica is notorious for having this happen. And it's not going to break, so don't need to worry, but you can get it replaced if you want to. In fact, the prop itself is probably going to be like this at this point in time. But moving down to the body, you can see the crackle paint. It looks quite aged and faded. The aged part is intentional because CT wanted to mimic its look of use by the end of Series 4. So this is pretty close to how it was at the beginning of the specials, or in the transition between Series 4 and the next Doctor. As you can see here on the page, it looks quite blotchy here. You can see those lighter blotches within the handle. But moving back to the actual replica before us, the faded look is because, well, this thing has seen many a convention, although it hasn't been handled outside of those events. But moving on to the aesthetics again, you can see the blue strip here, and also the teardrop-like indentations on the handle, as well as the two grub screws that hold it all together. On the slider, it's held up wonderfully, but on the button it's worn a bit because of all the touching. And to the end cap down here, you can see the little indentation ring on the aluminum or aluminium, whichever way you pick. And this end cap here, well, it's made of Delrin, which is accurate to the prop. However, unlike the prop, whereas on that you would unscrew it to get to the batteries, you cannot on this one because it's been glued in place. That's enough of the aesthetic. Let's move on to the functions and features. So the functions and features of this Sonic are quite simple. The slider right here, you push that up and it extends the Sonic. But also too, the activation button right here activates the lights and sound. I don't know if you can hear this over the music, but yeah. It's a nice, bright blue LED. However, on the action, it's inaccurate as it uses a white LED instead of a blue one, which the prop used a blue one. But that's a minor thing. It doesn't matter really. Also, this thing is well known for having a Doppler effect because the inside where the speaker is covered in brass, and on top of that's the aluminium build here. So as demonstrated. Yes, it's quite nice. Also too, what I love about this that CT did is that he gave us something extra without any expense of the prop or its accuracy. This blue strip right here, it glows subtly in the dark, which I will demonstrate. As demonstrated here, when I turn off the light, yeah, when you leave it in the sunlight or just a strong light source, or in this case is what I did, use the UV light in this, the toy, it produces that effect. This is the only replica out there with that feature. I think I've done all I can on the functions and features. It's quite nice. But now let's move on to something equally important. Battery access. So what you're going to want to do here is, well, you're going to have to take your screwdriver, take another screwdriver, one that, like for example, this, take a flathead for it. It's taking a while, excuse me. Well, just any screwdriver you can with a flat head, and that's this small. Then what you're going to want to do is unscrew this. But don't leave it, leave it in. Don't take it out all the way because it is quite tedious in putting it back in. But anyways, once you have it exposed, you can see the brass tube. That little slot is where the speaker is. The serial number, as well as the battery placement. And what you do is, see this little hole right here? Whew. Excuse me. Well, what you're gonna do is poke your screwdriver in through there, It's going to pop out, and as you can see, you're going to want to put the positive face down, and yeah, it takes 3 AG5 batteries, which you can find on Amazon, and I'll leave a link to where I got mine because well, let me do this off camera. Excuse me. Okay, so we're back. Finally got it all back together. So CT recommends a particular brand that works best with his replicas, which is this, the 10 Tianquo, I think it's called. Sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation, but anyways, that's how you access the batteries. Now on to final thoughts. So, what are my thoughts? Well, there's a reason why I've been looking for this thing for 5 years, salivating over it, dreaming of the day where I'd hold it, thinking that day would never come. And Nathan, if you're watching this, thank you for letting that day happen. Because it's an amazing replica. It's brilliant. Because, whew, I don't even have the words for it. I mean, yeah, okay. That's what all I'm gonna say. It's a brilliant replica. I mean, yeah, a few accuracies here and there, but in the end, they're so minuscule, they don't even subtract the beauty. It's almost perfect. The only drawback? It's the rarity of this piece, as well as the price that comes with that. It's a sold out item. It sold out years ago. There was only 500 of these. It was of a limited run, and people who have this replica they're going to want to hold on to it. And sometimes when it is available, it's going to be for a hefty price. I've seen these things go for $1,000. So you're more likely to be shot by a Dalek, go to Mars, or have a night with the 13th Doctor, or the 10th Doctor, or Clara Oswald, Rose Tyler, Donna Noble, or even Jack Harkness. Not that I know anything about that. But exaggerations aside, it's a rare thing. And if you find one available, and I hope you do, make sure you're prepared for it. And looking back now, this makes you, in a way, grateful for what we had back then and what we have now. I mean, and when you consider the upcoming Rubbertone 10th by Nick Roboto, the prop maker, you can't help but come back to this one. I've even seen people call that replica a newer version of this. I mean, yes. Even though that one's probably going to be more accurate, let it be known, this is the first one that got it right. I mean, look, even the glowing blue strip here. Not even the new Rubbertone has that. That's how unique this replica is. As Vogt Saxon would say, the better the prop, the closer you feel to that franchise. And let me tell you how close I feel to Doctor Who when I hold this in my hands. And that's about it for this review. I hope you enjoyed it. And next time, we'll be looking at the other Sonic I just mentioned, the new Rubbertone 10th. And with that, goodbye.